more than that will incur a penalty. It's a very small penalty, but nonetheless it's a sin, and not from the aspect of penalty. We refrain from such acts because they are sin.
Sure. Sometimes ladies who have longer hair will wear a band or something to tie up the hair, and when that's removed, sometimes hair come out with that.
That is fine.
Okay.
That is absolutely fine, because it's not done in the process of combing the hair or brushing the hair, and it's just done for the sake of then putting the hijab on properly. So that should be fine. Now, immersion in water, what it means is, when we talk about covering the head, we mean the top part of the head, yes? And some of the sides to the ears. Now, I'm not trying to be funny here, but people were wearing Bluetooths last year or year before, and the fatwa came that they're haram because it's covering the head. Yeah? Now, obviously, it's not as outrageous as that either. We can have a Bluetooth, it's fine. But why do we need to talk with people so much? However, the people heading the groups may need to do that for the safety and security of the group and for the arrangements. That's not a problem. Anything that's considered as covering is a problem. Yeah? As I said, we can cover our heads with our hands or both of our hands. That's not a problem, so long as there's not a cloth or a mobile shade. As far as immersion under the water is concerned, the head is everything from the place where the hair grows to the neck. So the limits of head changes. For the purpose of the shade, it's the top of the head and the side, yes? Not the bottom part, because it's not head. These are faces. In terms of immersion within water, it is the whole of the head. That is not allowed. So if somebody is extremely hot, just wants to dip their head within water, there's a bucket of water there, and possibly there would be in Arafah, you do find, and it's extremely tempting to just take a dip or just put your head inside the water to cool off. It's haram, yeah? And it incurs a kafara. Covering the face by females. The females are supposed to leave everything that's outside the hijab or everything that's outside the requirement of salah, the minimum requirement of salah. They must leave exposed for the sun to directly touch it. For the sun to directly touch, yes? They can cover their faces with their hands, that's fine. They can't put a covering, it's only if the top of their hijab falls on their faces, that's also fine. But they're not allowed to wear a face mask or a niqab, which is haram. But during prayers, if they want to maybe fully cover themselves and the sides of the outer shawl or whatever, jilbab or whatever it is that the women wear, if that is covering portions of the face, then that is absolutely fine and it shouldn't be a problem. Now here comes a question that due to the fumes that are there when people are being transported from Arafah to Muzdalifah, can people cover their faces with the mask? Yes? Now obviously, immediately when we look at the fatwas, you can't. You can't cover it. So now the answer is, well, are we supposed to become unhealthy? What if somebody gets an asthma attack? What if people are asthmatic? And the fumes are such that are enough to make anybody sick. Here we will find that the Sharia does relax. It is relaxed. That for health reasons, if people are suffering like that, then they should cover their mouths to prevent not dust, but fumes from entering within their system. And otherwise they become extremely sick. Yes? Now I know this might appear odd. Does anybody want to say anything or share anything?
So is this only for those who are predisposed to such illnesses?
I would say, to be very cautious, yes. I'm looking at it from the fatwa perspective, yes? And we are going with the most conservative of all views. And based on that, we are saying that people should wear, if they suffer those sort of illnesses, asthma and so on and so forth, or breathing difficulties, or bronchitis. Yeah? It can get very bad.
What about in case of prevention, like swine flu? Is recommended to wear
I heard in the UK that face covering doesn't act as a preventative measure from swine flu.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, so you can't use it for that. You can't use it for that. I am pretty sure that the ulama, a few years down the line, will all say, wear them. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine because it's unhealthy for hundreds of thousands of people to walk alongside each other and to breathe into each other's faces. It's very unhealthy. And then on top of that, the dust and then the fumes. I'm sure the ulama will come to this opinion within a few years. But for now, those people who are suffering through illnesses and they can't withstand fumes, they can place the face masks.
Yes, I'm going to give an example. A few years ago, I don't know if the judge were with us, but we had to walk in order to get to midnight time, and we had to go through a tunnel. And the fumes were so bad. I'm not sure what we did, but I know it was unbearable.
Suffocating.
It was almost suffocating.
The tunnel of Mina.
Yeah, it was very.
Really?
But I'm not sure what we did. We covered
The bottom line is that Sharia, Allah does not allow us to incur damage, which is avoidable. He doesn't.
Can I just say those green masks that they're wearing, they could be more damaging than without.
Really?
Yes.
What about fumes?
It's equally dangerous, but the mask, if they get wet, then you're getting more bacteria in it.
So what if you have several masks?
Yeah, if you keep on changing, but if you're wearing the same one.
I think what she means is those surgical masks they're selling
Right.
everywhere are not very effective. If you want real dust and fume prevention masks, you need to buy
Can we
real
get them?
preventive. I don't think you get them here. You just get these green surgical masks, which are useful.
So if people can then change them
Yeah, every
regularly?
3-4 minutes, because they're more dangerous.
Every 3-4 minutes?
Yes.
Really?
There's no filter mechanism on those green
Ah.
masks, so it's collecting all the dust there, and in a few
Plus
seconds.
you-
And plus you sweat, so it gets wetter.
Yeah.
All right, masks are out of the question.
Unless
That's
somebody can apply.
that's resolved. Yeah.
If you are in a situation where, for example, you're in a tunnel, what is the best way of protecting oneself? Would you be allowed to use the material that you were wearing, or would that be?
In the case of fumes? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yes.
In fact, I think that's probably more effective. The Ihram actually does quite a good job of
It's not proper oxygenated.
Sorry?
Unless you got a proper oxygenated mask, that is the same.
You can
Put on the
supply
list for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, a few more. Bleeding one's body, itching and scratching the body to an extent that it starts bleeding. There are two problems there, hair fall and we bleed. Bleeding does incur a hefty penalty, so avoid it. Cutting nails whilst in ihram. If they're cut by mistake, there's another problem. It's another situation altogether. If they're cut deliberately, there is a sheep that needs to be sacrificed. So it's a heavy penalty. Extracting tooth or teeth, don't go to the dentist, by the way, while you're in ihram. And carrying any form of weapons whilst in ihram. Now that obviously does exclude carrying small knives, because we need them at times in Arafah and Mina in Muzdalifah. So whatever is considered to be arms or weapons is haram, but small knives and things like that should be absolutely fine. Now, that's the Turuq al-Ihram finished. Turuq al-Ihram means those things which are prohibited within Ihram. When we wear the Ihram, we are actually making an intention that these are the things we shall refrain from. Any questions on that? And tomorrow we'll go into the actual ceremonies of Hajj and how to perform them.
Sorry, I just wanted to point out, there's some people who suffer from nosebleeds in the heat,
Mhm.
like Habib does and Ali does.